This is CBC Here and Now.
A 28-year-old woman has been charged with second-degree murder. We'll hear from a woman who tried to help the man who died in St. John's.
Nobody deserves to die alone. Nobody deserves to die just surrounded by chaos and hurt.
Coming up on Here and Now.
O'Toole made a quick stop in Corner Brook this morning, but he said very little about Newfoundland and Labrador.
His non-answers. I don't like being not answered to. I think Canadians deserve answers.
I'm Colleen Connors, and I'll give you the details of his announcement.
We have the risk of some thunderstorms through parts of the island tonight. A fall start to the weekend, but improves as we get to the end of it.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Carolyn Stokes. We begin with last night's violent death in downtown St. John's. A 28-year-old woman has been charged with second-degree murder. CBC News spoke with a woman who stayed beside the victim until first responders arrived. And a warning, some may find the details of her story disturbing. Here and Now's Mark Quinn has our top story.
It's a life wasted. It's really sad.
Debbie Wiseman is one of the people who rushed to help yesterday evening after she heard two screams. She found neighbors trying to resuscitate a man lying on the sidewalk.
There was a wound on his neck. It was a really bloody wound, and there was a lot of blood around him, and his shirt was covered in blood also. Before
first responders arrived, she held the man's hand, and she says it was cold, and the man didn't squeeze her hand back.
Nobody deserves to die alone. Nobody deserves to die just surrounded by chaos and hurt. And if me holding his hand could be a small amount of comfort for him, then I wanted to be that comfort.
The RNC has charged a 28-year-old female from St. John's with second-degree murder.
Lorraine Obed is the woman accused of murder. The RNC says she and the 49-year-old victim knew each other, something Wiseman confirmed as well. Police also said they were looking for Obed before last night.
What I can say is there was a warrant out for the female's arrest. As to what it relates to, I'm unable to confirm right now.
It happened out in the open, in the street near Cookstown Road. A number of people in the area witnessed the assault and the man's death. Wiseman says it's had a powerful impact on her.
It's kind of unreal. All I can really see is his eyes, because I kind of focused on his eyes. So it's, like I said, I was kind of hoping he would blink or look towards me or something, make some kind of emotion that he was responding. So that's kind of like, I'm just kind of like in shock and still can just like see his face in my mind when I close my eyes.
The police say there is help for anyone who may have been traumatized by what happened, and they're encouraging people to reach out for help by calling 911 or the RNC's Mobile Crisis Response Team. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, in other news, police have upgraded a murder charge against a 26-year-old man who is accused of killing a 50-year-old man in Nain last month. Munnis Bennett now faces a charge of first-degree murder. RCMP says further investigation by the Major Crimes Unit in Corner Brook led police to upgrade the charge from second-degree murder to first. Bennett is also now charged with 2 counts of assault causing bodily harm. That incident involved 2 other residents in Nain. Bennett is expected to appear in court next week.
Temperatures today starting to cool down for parts of Labrador into the double digits, but just barely for Hopedale and Makkovik this afternoon. Temperatures much warmer for the island, about 24 degrees in Corner Brook this afternoon, and so far reached a high near 19 in St. John's. We do have a little bit of humidity in the mix as well, feeling more like the mid to upper 20s in parts of Central, but that is all going to change as we head through the night tonight. We've got a cold front that's moving through. It's actually sparking some showers and some thunderstorms as well earlier today. Some of those thunderstorms have moved offshore, but that potential still sticks around for the next few hours. I'll get into all those details and have your full weekend forecast when I come back.
Well, Conservative leader Erin O'Toole made a quick stop in Corner Brook this morning on his visit through some of the Atlantic provinces. It was a small event, and as Here and Now's Colleen Connors reports, O'Toole didn't talk specifics, which left some local residents a bit baffled.
In a small conference room at the Glenmill Inn, O'Toole peeked out from behind a black curtain to address the room with half a dozen local politicians and dozens of reporters. Today, his focus was on sick leave.
A Conservative government will increase EI sickness benefits from 26 weeks to 52 weeks for those suffering from a serious illness.
When prompted if his visit may have an impact on this red part of the island, he focused on including all regions in his election plans.
I want to make sure our economic recovery includes all sectors and all regions of this country. Newfoundlanders and Labradorians deserve an economic recovery just as much as anyone else, and Conservatives will deliver one.
Just weeks ago, Trudeau announced a new $5.2 billion deal for the Muskrat Falls hydroelectric project, with the hope of keeping electricity bills from spiking in this province. The project is expected to cost $13 billion.
We've always said we will be here for Newfoundland and Labrador. When we were in government, we provided the loan guarantees to get projects like Muskrat Falls off the ground. We want to see the ability for Newfoundlanders and Labradorians to have a strong economy and to be able to provide opportunity for the province themselves.
I don't know if you really answered if you would scrap the deal that Trudeau just announced or if you would keep this $5.2 billion deal.
We will always work with Newfoundland and Labrador to make sure that they can balance the Muskrat Falls project and its overruns alongside their need to make sure that they can provide social services supports and access the debt markets. We were there for the project at the beginning. We will be there for the province as a government.
Does that mean a yes or no on Muskrat? Are you going to uphold the $5 billion deal? Are you going to uphold the deal?
I was waiting for him to answer. He didn't answer it. He just gave a broad, general comment.
Mary Cormier heard O'Toole was in town and popped in to hear what he had to say. She doesn't support any one party, but feels O'Toole's answers today were not suffice.
I don't like being not answered to. I think Canadians deserve answers.
After the media availability was over, O'Toole's team sent a statement on his behalf, committing to honoring the deal that is in place. In the statement, O'Toole says, a Conservative government under my leadership will honor the deal in place with the Provincial Government of Newfoundland and Labrador for the Muskrat Falls hydroelectric project. In the statement, O'Toole also promised to support the province's offshore industry while taking a jab at the other parties. He says, that's a sharp contrast with the other parties who have been clear that they want to shut that industry down.
It's not answering questions.
Back to Mary Cormier. She'd like to hear those commitments from the leader, not in a statement hours later. Cormier says after hearing O'Toole speak here at this hotel in Corner Brook, she plans on speaking with all the candidates in her district before deciding who she will vote for. This is week 2 of the federal campaign, with everyone voting on September 20th. Colleen Connors, CBC News, Corner Brook.
Yes, and today party candidates are responding to a commitment NDP leader Jagmeet Singh made earlier this week. Singh vowed to end subsidies given to oil and gas companies if the NDP wins the election. Here now's Meg Roberts spoke with candidates in St. John's East, and she joins us now live. So Meg, oil and gas is always a huge election topic here in the province. What can you tell us about where the candidates stand on this?
Well, Carolyn, there are two common threads between all the parties. They all said they want to see people of this province thrive, and they also all agreed that climate change is an emergency. But obviously there are differing perspectives on how the two correlate. A Liberal candidate, Joanne Thompson, says she is not in favor of scrapping subsidies, but wants to take what she's calling a more balanced approach.
We need to acknowledge problems, and I think we're doing that by saying climate change is real and we need to move to net zero. Then I think you need to always protect the people who are impacted most, and that's certainly the workers. And at the same time, you bring the expertise to the table, the stakeholders to the table, and then collectively you use that wisdom and knowledge to begin to the transition to net zero solutions.
Speaking with the Conservative candidate Glenn Etchegary, he says he has an alternative view than the NDP as the province looks down the barrel at about $15 million of net debt. Instead, Etchegary says the Conservatives have promised to invest $1.5 billion in an offshore rebound fund. That money will go towards growth of the offshore oil industry and creating jobs in this sector, which Etchegary says is needed.
The world needs fuel. It will need it for a while yet. We're not saying that we don't transition. We absolutely must transition into greener technologies. But at this time, for Newfoundland and Labrador, we have to get focused on generating revenue to start paying down some of our debt, to generate revenue that's going to pay for some of the other things that we need so badly, including a focus on healthcare, mental health, education, poverty, homelessness, crime.
But NDP candidate Mary Shortall says all the money the federal government has given to oil and gas and jobs are still up in limbo. She says right now the government needs to implement and follow a transition plan, in which she says the Liberal government has talked about but has not followed up on. She says money invested in oil companies has no strings attached to it, and she feels that it's not a good use of federal funds.
Federal government gives the oil companies money and they say, you know, it would be nice if it was there to protect workers' jobs, but workers don't have any more protection than they did before that money was sent down. They're still nervous about what's going to happen. They're still protesting in Confederation Building because they don't know what's going to happen. That money that's been invested across the whole country in the oil and gas industry, imagine if it was invested in a just transition plan. Imagine if it was invested in green jobs or even in healthcare or other public services.
There's a little more than 3 weeks left until the federal election. If you want to vote by mail, you have until September 14th to request a voting kit. Advance polls will happen on September 10th to the 13th. Carolyn.
Thanks so much, Meg. This here now is Meg Roberts reporting live. Well, Central Health says it's bringing in 8 new temporary positions to help alleviate the strain on paramedics. Workers were protesting in Gander yesterday, saying they're constantly on call, short-staffed, and under-resourced. NAPE President Jerry Earle says when 2 ambulances are parked outside of the hospital in Grand Falls, Windsor, only one is staffed and ready to go. The other crew is on call. Central Health says the new positions will allow for a second day shift team as well as standby service overnight. While the positions are temporary, the health authority says it plans to work on a more permanent solution. In a statement today, Central Health thanked the paramedics for their service, saying more bodies will not only ensure public safety, it will also promote a healthier work-life balance for employees. Well, there are 7 new cases of COVID-19 in the province to report. And as you're about to see, the majority of those are tied to travel within Canada. 2 of the 7 cases are in the eastern region. Both of those are tied to travel. Another travel-related case has been reported in the central region. There is also 1 case in the western region, and that case remains under investigation. And 3 cases have been reported in the Labrador-Grenville Health region. 2 of those 3 cases are girls under 20 years of age, also tied to Canadian travel. That makes 14 active cases in Newfoundland and Labrador right now, and no one is in hospital due to COVID-19. Now, a couple of advisories to share with you now about potential COVID exposures. Public Health is advising anyone who visited Costco in Galway last Sunday, that's August 22nd, between 1 and 2 o'clock in the afternoon to arrange for testing. There is also a public advisory for anyone who may have visited Sobeys on Topsail Road in Paradise on Tuesday, that's the 24th, between 5 and 5:30 p.m. Now, if you visited these locations and do not have symptoms, you are not required to isolate while waiting for the results of your test. And that's not all. Public Health has detected the virus that causes COVID-19 in the town of Paradise's wastewater. For this reason, anyone experiencing one of the following symptoms is advised to get tested. Again, this is a message for Paradise residents. Public Health says it's issuing this warning out of an abundance of caution. Well, provincial ferries are now running at full capacity. Ridership was reduced to 50% when the pandemic began. That number has been increasing gradually, with the most recent change in May when capacity was raised to 85%. Now that provincial ferries are full again, canteen services have also gotten the go-ahead to reopen. Department of Education has ordered 4,000 air purification units from a company called Eris. It announced the plan to install the units in every classroom in the province last week. Now, the company says the units will be en route in the next few days. Government expects them to be installed in most regions when schools reopen on September 8th. Well, a charging network for electric vehicles in the province has gotten a boost. All 14 EV charging stations are up and running. Newfoundland and Labrador Hydro installed the Level 3 charging stations along the Trans-Canada Highway from Port aux Basques to St. John's, plus one in Rocky Harbour. The fast chargers cost $15 per hour, which is similar to charges in the Maritimes. They can also bill by the minute. Hydro says the network will help those with electric vehicles power up during cross-island trips. On average, TCH drivers can now find a charging station every 70 kilometers.
We did research as we were contemplating this idea of putting in this charging network, and the majority of people who were interested in EVs said one of the major barriers to them was indeed not having a fast charging network that they could access. So we really believe that this is going to help people cross over and become an EV owner.
It's kind of a unique collection that you wouldn't necessarily find anywhere else.
Well, tomorrow is the annual Botanical Garden Plant Sale. Why is it so popular, and what can you get there? We'll talk about that after the weather.
Well, looking out there right now, gray skies, but the weather will improve as we get to the end of the weekend. I'll get into all those details.
Guess what today is?
Calling all kindergartners. Here and Now is looking for kids who are heading off on their first day of school ever. Ask mom or dad to grab their phone and take a video of you. Tell us your name, where you're from, and why you're excited about starting school.
I'm excited for kindergarten.
Then email that video to nlphotos@cbc.ca, and you could be on TV before the first bell rings.
Time for a look at the weather. It's Friday, weekend weather time. I had a couple people today say to me that they feel like fall is kind of starting to settle in, even though we're still in August, but it's so cold out there today, like really chilly and windy.
In the morning, yeah. I mean, I guess we are at the end of August, and I mean, we did just come off a pretty humid couple of days. So yes, obviously these cooler temperatures feel more fall-like, and it certainly will for the first half of the weekend. Let's take a look at where we sat today, though, across the province. 19 degrees in St. John's earlier this afternoon, a little warmer as you head towards Central, 24 in Badger, 20 in Twillingate as well. But all that cool air up across Labrador is a preview of what we're going to expect, at least through Saturday for the island. So if we take a look at the temperatures this afternoon for the western region, you can see we saw some humidex values up in and around 28 with a temperature around 22. But as we see those winds shift, we're seeing those temperatures drop a little bit, about 24 degrees earlier this afternoon, or later this afternoon. Earlier this evening rather, and 23 degrees right now in the Corner Brook region. So what we have going on is an area of low pressure to the north that's actually sparking some thunderstorms. We've got a warm front, a cold front, and a trough, which you can barely see, but when I zoom in here, you can see that trough. So we've got that warm, humid air out in front of it, which is why we're seeing humidex values in the mid to high 20s. That cold front swept through, we're seeing those humidex values drop. And then note what happens with the winds here behind this trough. So those winds shift more northerly, and that's where we're going to see some of that colder air move through. And that's going to do that as we head through the night tonight, as all of these warm fronts, cold fronts, and troughs roll through. So we do have a rainfall warning thanks to that area of low pressure still in place. It actually got extended down through Cartwright earlier today. You're looking at another 5 to 10 millimeters of rain through the overnight, but then that should end as the system continues to track offshore. So as that trough will move through tonight in behind, you'll see that wind shift, which means temperatures are going to drop. And then we'll see another area of showers develop for the west coast tonight. Also looking at that risk of thunderstorms as that cold front continues to sweep through as well. Less likely for the Avalon, but still going to see that. Apparently a pretty good thunderstorm has rolled through the Twillingate area, and that should be the end of it as far as strong thunderstorms or stronger thunderstorms go. But you still see that risk of a few strikes of lightning, certainly. And then as we head through the night tonight into the early morning hours, we're going to see the clouds develop again through Central, and also that chance of showers. So tonight, winds are going to stay brisk. Southwesterlies, thanks to just before that cold front moves through, about 30 to 50 kilometers per hour. And then look what happens on the west coast. We'll shift to those northwesterlies, and those temperatures are going to dip a little bit. Single-digit temperatures across Labrador. Lab City down to 3 degrees tonight. A risk we could see some patchy frost as well. But the winds are going to pick up quite dramatically for southeastern portions of Labrador. You're looking at wind gusts tonight out of the north, about 60 to 80 kilometers per hour, thanks to that area of low pressure. So as we head through the day tomorrow, skies are going to clear across Labrador for the most part. Those showers and cloud cover will continue to be the story for most of the island tomorrow. Spotty showers likely. And then as we head through the afternoon, best chance of seeing that sunshine will be along the west coast, and then eventually towards Central, maybe by the time the sun goes down. But we're going to stay into with those cloud cover and showers for the majority of the afternoon for eastern areas. However, you may see the sun peek out at times, at least in the beginning of the day. Those winds are going to stay brisk as well out of the northwest this time, hence these cooler temperatures. So into the teens for the most part. It will feel very fall-like tomorrow, 12 to 14 degrees through Central. South coast, though, going to see some sunshine, and then along the west coast as well. Your showers will be in the morning, and then things will clear off as the day goes on. Temperatures will stay in the teens pretty much most of southeastern Labrador, and then warm back up. 20 degrees for Lab City. Happy Valley, Goose Bay, similar forecast. And you're looking at a fairly nice weekend. It ends pretty nice too. We're going to start to see some of the temperatures warm up as we get into Sunday, and then eventually some unsettled weather will return again next week. But I'll get into all those long-term forecasts when I come back.
Well, if you're an avid gardener in the St. John's area, then you probably have tomorrow's date highlighted in your calendar. That's because it's the Botanical Gardens annual plant sale. Joining me now to talk more about it is Kim Shipp, the director of the Botanical Gardens. So tell us what's going to be happening here tomorrow.
Tomorrow from 9:30 to noon, there's a vast selection of plants here for sale that our Friends of the Garden have propagated.
I've been here where there's been a line of people just ready to dash to the plants as soon as it opens. Why do you think this is so popular?
It is a really popular event, and I think it's because of the amazing quality of plants that the Friends of the Garden produce. But also they're tried and true, tested. We know that they grow here, and they're samples from the Botanical Garden. Some of them have been grown from seed, and it's kind of a unique collection that you wouldn't necessarily find anywhere else.
Right. And what sorts of things are you offering this year?
Well, there's quite a lot, and I'll mention you can get the plant list off of our website. We often hand out a paper copy, but not this year, of course. But there's an incredible selection of heaths and heathers that you won't find anywhere else. And we have some pretty amazing ferns. We have some beautiful hydrangeas, a lot of woody plants. There's hundreds of plants here to choose from.
Wow. And this is an important event for the Botanical Garden, right? This is your annual fundraiser. Can you talk a bit about how much this means for the organization?
The Friends of the Garden raise about $20,000 to $25,000 every year through their plant sales. It's an incredible group of volunteers, and I say it once and I say it again and again. We have the best and hardest working volunteers, and they raise that money in support of the Botanical Garden every year. And so with COVID, of course, last year we had to switch gears a little bit, and we had an online sale this spring which turned out to be really successful. But they love to do this in person because they're so knowledgeable, and I know that the people who come to look and purchase the plants love to talk to them, get advice about what might work in a particular spot in their garden. And so we're thrilled to be hosting it in person again.
Yeah. What kind of people do you expect to get here tomorrow? Is it the experienced gardener? Is it the first-time gardeners? Who do you see the most of?
Well, it's kind of all of the above. There are some gardeners that are, have their eye on a couple of plants in the Botanical Garden that they know the Friends have propagated, and they'll be here first in line tomorrow morning. And then there are some others who are just getting into gardening, and we know in the last 2 years gardening has really taken off, and so they'll be coming here a little bit newer at it, asking advice of our volunteers, and of course our horticulturists will be here as well to help give some advice.
Right, great. Kim Shipp, thank you so much and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
I was sort of in a hard place. Wasn't really happy with what I was doing from occupation. Was really just had a dream of being a musician, you know.
Fixing power lines by day, playing music whenever he can. Even his story sounds like a country song. We introduce you to Rodney Slade just ahead. By day, he's a power line technician, but Rodney Slade of Paradise is pursuing several passions. He's also into mixed martial arts and making music. Slade sat down with Here and Now's Chrissy Holmes to talk about his new country single, the singer who inspires him most, and mental health.
I'm tangled up like twisted steel. I'm to blame, I lost the will.
Rodney Slade, congratulations on your new single.
Thank you so much.
I really want to talk about that in just a minute, but first I want to talk about you. You sound like an interesting person. So you're from Paradise. You're one of the power line boys, saving us all when the power goes out, and you do MMA. You train MMA.
Yeah, I train with Chris Lee. He's from Airport Heights. He's a professional MMA fighter, so I've been training with him now for almost a full year.
You sound like somebody that really knows how to express themselves.
Yeah, well, in this day you got to. Music is just expressing yourself, of course. MMA is the same way. It's just in a different art form, really. And the same thing with Powerline. If I'm up there framing an A, I get to make sure it looks beautiful. If I could get back somehow,
Another thing, you're a huge Dallas Smith fan, as many are, and I understand that it was through some of his music that this single came about. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Dallas has been a huge influence for me over the years, especially with the mental health side. I know he deals with some mental health issues himself. So I know on Bell Let's Talk Day, every year he posts about his medication and stuff and how it's okay to take medication. And that song just came from that image he put in my mind that if he can do it, then I can do it.
It was okay, it was okay. You were crying, babe, you were crying, didn't know what to say, you know what to say. Didn't stay, you didn't stay, you didn't stay, you didn't stay, you didn't stay.
I wrote the song when I was feeling down, of course. I was sort of in a hard place. Wasn't really happy with what I was doing from occupation. Was really just had that dream of being a musician, you know. And Dallas Smith, he's been a huge impact on my mental health and the way he carries himself. So I just wanted to carry myself. I said, well, if he can do it like that, I can definitely do it.
If then was now, if I could get back somehow, I'd hit rewind, I'd go back through time.
So I reached out to Dallas Smith's wife because I knew that if I sent it on Dallas Smith's Instagram, he probably wouldn't have seen it. I guess he gets thousands of messages a day. So I went out on a limb again. I sent it to his wife. She actually messaged me back saying she loved the song. Sent me a little clip of her daughters dancing to the song. I obviously broke out in tears. I was so excited, so happy that it happened, and I'm so glad that they like it. And I hope if Dallas heard it, I hope he loves it as well.
Like, do you mind reading out the message, sharing what she said, if it's not too personal?
No worries. All right, so I sent her a copy of the song. She said, hey, well, this is an incredible compliment to both Dallas and I. Thank you for your kind words and for sharing this. We don't actually get too many messages like this. They're always welcome regardless, so thank you. And she went ahead and said that the preview of your song is beautiful. She sent the video of the kids. My daughters enjoyed the song. Everyone's dancing. That's the youngest, so she was just doing a little wiggle there, and it was cool. It was really cool, really nice. Yeah, it was heart-stopping, really. It was just like I felt like, okay, I finally woke up. I'm finally here. You know, I'm finally where I want to be in life. You know, and it's not just because she messaged me and who she is. It's the fact that she took the time and said congratulations. Like, you did it. Like you rose up and you've accomplished something that you've been wanting to do for a long time.
There's no one else that then was now.
You're an old soul, Rodney, and you're only 24 years old. What are your biggest dreams for the future?
My biggest dreams is probably just to make music, continue making music, my own music for sure. Helping other people through music is my main goal. I'm looking forward to definitely going to school and getting some form of education underneath my belt for music or for music therapy or something like that, right? Definitely for music therapy.
Sounds like it's been therapeutic for you too.
Oh, definitely. Things get better. They will get better, and if them was now, you know, it probably would have been better already. But
no one else then was now. Then was now.
Welcome back. Kyle White made international headlines earlier this year for his incredible weight loss story. Now, during the pandemic, he shifted to a plant-based diet and picked up running. White is originally from Old Perlican, and on a recent trip home, he marked another milestone, running the Cape to Cabot.
As soon as I got into running, I knew about the race, and I actually, when I used to live here, hiked Signal Hill Trail pretty regularly, and accidentally came up on Signal Hill as they were finishing a Cape to Cabin. I was like, that looks crazy. There's no way I could do that. But now that I'm into running, and I like the challenging long runs, I've got to give it a go. I'm down a total of about 187 pounds. I think that's about 30 or 40 from when we last talked. Oh, I feel good. It's hard to describe how much energy I have every day. No aches and pains, always ready to wake up and go for a run. Last time we spoke, I ran the 10K race that I was prepped for. I did a personal best. I beat my goal time of under 60 minutes, did 58:30. Now I'm training for a half marathon in September. The drive out here is always a little bit intimidating because, you know, every minute you go, that's when you gotta run back. But I feel good. I'm in my peak week for a training plan. I've been running a lot lately. I feel pretty fit, so I think it'll be okay. You sometimes hear the same line a few times. Whoa, you've like lost a whole person. You've lost my body weight. Or I wouldn't recognize you. No, I mean, it feels good. Living with it, you don't think about how much it really is in the broader scheme of things. But for folks who haven't seen me in 2 years, I imagine it's a little bit of a shock. It was like super unexpected. You know, I thought the stories would go out. It would, you know, maybe inspire some folks. I would always have folks reach out and ask about weight loss tips, ask about running, ask for meal tips. But then when it got picked up really big by CBC, it got picked up by CNN, I had just hordes of people reaching out, trying to add me on Facebook from all over the world. That was a pretty wild couple of weeks, but also kind of weird because we were in COVID and you couldn't go see anybody and it was all digital. So it was really interesting, but I've met some good folks through it, had a lot of good conversations, and I think a lot of people are hopefully inspired by it and are doing their own journeys. The whole point when I first talked about this back in January and share what I do on Instagram is all about, I can do it, so can anybody. Let's have a conversation about it. That's always been the goal, is to help have some sort of community around this about being healthy. And I think, with all of us kind of in the pandemic together, we all collectively have the time. We were trying new things. Why not try some new things that work on ourselves or work towards goals like that? 5 done. I'm a very goal-oriented person. Without a doubt, I'm going to try and run the Saskatchewan Marathon in the spring, and that's the full marathon. I've got a few things kind of planned in the back of my mind in Saskatchewan's winter. I started running during the winter, and I'm kind of built for frigid temperatures. So a minus 55K, a minus 20K, those kind of sound appealing to me.
Still fresh in the memory, it was a Canada Day unlike any other, and not just because of COVID. This year, a spotlight was aimed at the country's colonial past and the damage done to Indigenous peoples. It also triggered a movement among First Nations. Now, with the vote coming on next month, there's hope that movement will carry even more people to the polls. CBC's Sam Sampson has this report.
Can't ignore us anymore.
Tara Martinez says this is the most important federal election yet, based on what she experienced in July.
We have water, the water's free.
Martinez and hundreds of others filled Winnipeg's streets on July 1st, not celebrating Confederation, but calling attention to the unmarked graves of former residential school attendees and the colonial pasts of Canada's governments. The Winnipeg mom from Little Saskatchewan Cree Nation says there's a sense of urgency since the summer.
A lot of us are realizing the importance of voting and who we vote for.
My ancestors have been canoeing, and I do feel like a connection to them.
For Riel Carrier, it's that connection that helped him decide to vote for the first time a few years ago. The political scientist from Cumberland House Cree Nation in Saskatchewan says voting can be a difficult decision for some Indigenous people.
Does it mean I am surrendering my self-determination and participating in a colonial state that's being actively, eliminating my peoples? Is that what that means? Or does it mean I'm aware of all of that, but I still want to have my voice heard?
Carrier voted for the first time in the early 2000s after turning to the values in his treaty.
I come from Treaty 5 territory, and the underlying philosophy of the treaty is, it's possible to share. With Wetaskiwin, it's possible to share a territory.
It's a right that we should not just throw away.
Mary Burton is organizing a candidate forum next week in Winnipeg North, a federal riding with one of the lowest voter turnout rates in Manitoba. In 2015, Indigenous voters helped put Justin Trudeau and the Liberals into power with a record-breaking turnout. Now Burton hopes Cancel Canada Day ignites political action for this election.
It's a very colonial system, but it's the only system we have right now. Our Indigenous systems, we're trying to bring those back, but they're not there yet.
The best way to get there, she says, is to fight for it, something she's done by voting in every election she can. Sam Sampson, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Let's go.
Time to find out who's celebrating. Happy 52nd anniversary to Joe and Hilda Keating of Marystown. Best wishes to Elsie and Nelson Bennett of Pasadena. They're celebrating 70 years of marriage. Happy 50th wedding anniversary to Don and Becky Lambert of Greats Cove. Wishing Roy and Verna Edison of Roddickton a happy 55th anniversary. Happy 54th anniversary to Randy and Annie Whalen of Hodges Cove, Trinity Bay. Congratulations to to Frank and Elizabeth McDonald of Gander on their 57th anniversary. Happy 53rd anniversary to Gordon and Elsie Murphy. They're from Bonavista and now live in St. John's. Happy 54th anniversary to Nick and Hilda Green of Winterton. Wishing Derm and Mary Hart of Witless Bay a happy 56th anniversary. A very happy 58th anniversary to John and Carmel Power of St. John's. Happy 59th anniversary to Ross and Gladys Bartlett of Burlington. Happy anniversary to Jerry and Shirley Canning of Twillingate, who are celebrating 56 years of marriage. Ron and Nora Kelly are celebrating their 60th wedding anniversary. They're from Freshwater, Placentia Bay. Happy 64th anniversary to Hazen and June Walters of Gander. Happy 62nd anniversary to Frank and Winifred Bishop of Cupids. Wishing Roy and Eva Bennett of Norman's Cove a happy 60th anniversary. Happy 50th wedding anniversary to Harold and Norma Saunders of Springdale. Happy 66th anniversary to Ralph and Beatrice Coombs of Head of Beta Spear. Happy 58th wedding anniversary to Cecil and Juanita Chater of Labrador City, now living in Northern Arm. Best wishes to Garland and Margaret Foss of Bay Vert. They've been married 59 years. Happy 50th wedding anniversary to Lauren and Betty Sheaves of Port aux Basques. Congratulations to Calvin and Vera Barnes from CBS. They're celebrating their 62nd anniversary. John and Madeline Hamilton are celebrating 57 years of marriage. Congratulations. Anniversary greetings going out to Millicent and Baxter Baker of Bonavista. They're celebrating their 51st anniversary. Happy 50th anniversary to Joe and Madonna Dillon of St. Mary's. Guy and Eddie Diamond are celebrating their 60th anniversary. They're from Change Islands and now live in Clark's Head, Gander Bay. Happy 50th wedding anniversary to Wayne and Sheila Williams of Paradise. Happy 57th wedding anniversary to Harvey and Valma Burton of Hants Harbor, Trinity Bay. Happy 50th anniversary to Betty and Lauren Sheaves of Port aux Basques. Congratulations to Ambrose and Bernadette Kenny of Goulds. It's their 55th anniversary. Wishing Fred and Minnie Drover from Hodges Cove a happy 55th anniversary. Happy 50th anniversary to Bruce and Teresa Grandy of Garnish. Happy anniversary to Judy and Clarence Jackson of Whiteway. They've been married 58 years. Now to some birthdays. Happy 90th birthday to Lewis Skinner. He's from St. Jack's, Fortune Bay, and now lives in Portugal Cove. Happy 93rd birthday to Ted Atkinson from Corner Brook. Wishing Mary Malloy of Torres Cove a happy 94th birthday. She now lives in Witless Bay. Wishing Horace Welsh a very happy 90th birthday. He's from Pools Cove and now lives in Norris Point. Happy birthday to Margaret Hillier of St. John's, who turned 97 years old on August 25th. Ronna Baker of Clarenville is celebrating her 92nd birthday. Happy birthday to you. Wishing Joan Costello of Fairyland a happy 96th birthday. Happy 90th birthday to Cora Holloway of Bloomfield. Happy birthday to Vera Pelly. She just turned 93. Birthday greetings going out to Doris Snow of St. John's on her 92nd birthday. Happy 99th birthday to World War II veteran Annie Keeping of Point Rosie, Fortune Bay, now living in Toronto. Happy birthday to Marjorie Noseworthy of Corner Brook. It's her 96th birthday. Happy birthday to Gladys Dowden of Greens Pond, now living in Gander. She turned 103 on Wednesday. Love and best wishes from family and friends. Happy 94th birthday to Marie Wheaton of Fredericton, Newfoundland. Birthday greetings going out to James Squires of Burlington. He turns 93 tomorrow. Happy 90th birthday to Caroline Allingham of Brig Bay, now living in Port Saunders. Happy 90th birthday to Wilson Stoyles of Goobies. Happy birthday today to Gerard Feltham. He turns 93, and wishing Caroline Day a happy 97th birthday tomorrow. Another fine crowd. Congratulations once again. So, Ashley, time for a look at the long range. How are things looking?
Well, things are going to improve certainly as we head through the weekend, but I just wanted to give an update on the thunderstorm situation in eastern Newfoundland. Let's take a look at this current satellite and radar. You can see some showers, which look like they're heavy at times, have developed, and there is some lightning associated with this one. Likely not going to be too significant. You may hear a few rumbles of thunder, but that cell is headed towards the Bonavista Peninsula. So you may hear a few rumbles of thunder as we head through the evening hours tonight. That may make it to the Avalon, less likely, but there is still that chance that we will see some showers and or a few rumbles of thunder as we head through the night tonight. The weather will significantly improve as we head through Sunday, looking much nicer. It'll start feeling fall-like tomorrow, but as we get into Sunday, beautiful day, especially up across Labrador. Lots of sunshine, temperatures in the high teens, low 20s, and a similar forecast for the island. Now, we may see some lingering showers in the morning for areas along the northeast, including the Avalon, but that should clear out as the day goes on. Temperatures will be coolest on the Avalon, about 15 degrees for the afternoon high, but as you head towards the west coast, your temperatures should be in the 20s. And again, we're going to say goodbye to the humidity at least for a couple of days. Does look like it'll return as we get into next week. Temperatures on Monday, pretty similar, not really moving too much. Another nice day for the most part. You might see some cloud cover to start in the east, but then we should see some clearing skies through the afternoon. Then some showers will roll through Happy Valley, Nain and Lab City. Temperatures will be the coolest in Nain at about 10 degrees, but Happy Valley, Goose Bay should warm up nicely. Again, another beautiful day and about 18 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud. So like I said, those clearing skies on Monday. Tuesday looks like things are going to start to get a little bit unsettled. Temperatures hovering in and around 18 degrees as the afternoon high on Tuesday. And then as we get into Wednesday, things settle down again and temperatures start to bump up. So we're in for a little bit of a roller coaster. And as far as central areas of the island go, look at that. Sunday, Monday, beautiful, but then Tuesday and Wednesday, a little bit unsettled. Temperatures bumping around a few degrees, 18 to 21 at this point. Overnight lows still sitting in the double digits. And then it's Tuesday when that humidity will return a little bit for western Newfoundland, likely feeling more like the mid 20s through the day. And then for eastern Labrador, your temperatures are going to dip and as we head towards the middle of next week, and things will stay unsettled. That's the story for western Labrador as well. And your overnight lows are going to start to dip a little bit as well, hovering in and around the single digits by the time we get to midweek next week. So I had to share this photo. Look at this great shot. Sunrise paddle. This is Newman Sound in Terra Nova Park. Thank you so much to Doug Barnes for sharing that lovely shot with us. And if you have any weather photos from your weekend, which looks nice, send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Wonderful. Yep, the weekend is here. Saturday tomorrow, that's great. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Gonna be chilly though in the overnight hours. Started bringing some of my plants indoors even, like some of my very sensitive plants.
Sensitive ones.
It's so cold in the evenings.
Yeah,
oh well,
starting.
Changes are coming. Have a great weekend though. See you on Monday.
Good night.